in this video, I'm going to be doing a trade recap from the 16th and then also go over the trades that I took today on the 17th. And the reason why I'm going to put these together is because I mentioned I was going to be doing live recordings, and I'm going to. I tried to do it for the first time today and I had some minor technical difficulties. I messed up the mic, so the sound was horrific. So I'm just going to mash these together, and then starting tomorrow, I'm going to be recording the trading sessions live and then hopefully get better at doing so and then start to post those. Just like anything else, when you do something for the first time, there's some speed bumps along the way. I experienced those today. I will make sure that does not happen, and then I will consistently post live trading videos. And also I want to go over something pretty interesting because the market has not been the easiest to trade. There has been a handful of days that provided some really good setups, but overall it's been very choppy, at least from the big cap perspective. Now small caps have been on fire. In the last couple days, I've taken trades on some small caps, which I don't normally do, and I want to start adding that to my playbook. When the market environment starts to change a little bit, which it has in 2021, sometimes what used to work does not work as well, and instead of continuously spinning the wheels and running into struggle, you have to do some things that are a little different than you used to do, and that's what I'm doing and finding a little bit of success doing it. On the 16th, I took 5 total trades. I had 4 winners and 1 loser, so I had a very good win rate. And the names that I traded were DOCU, BIDU, NVDA, and one that's not normally on the list, SCKT. Okay, so now to just go into the technicals, starting with DOCU or DOCU, however you want to pronounce it. But this has been in a long period of consolidation. It has been putting in higher lows, so starting to get real tight, and it's above the 9, above the 20, and it was trading right at this prior pivot. And then this looked like if it broke that, it has a chance to really be on breakout and maybe take out all-time highs, 290.23. So yesterday it had the gap up and it was trading above that level. So just knowing that, okay, now it's above the pivot, there's a chance that maybe this catches momentum. And that was about waiting to see if this could put in some sort of possible pattern that I like, a flag pattern or an opening range break. And also knowing a level that could be good to trade around, which was pre-market high, 265.97. BIDU, this stock has been so strong. It's been trending above the 9, above the 20 for a very long period of time. The day before had a little bit of a dip. Buyers stepped up. Nice green candle. Was trading close to all-time highs. So the levels that looked good to trade around were prior day's high, 319, the all-time high level, 322.89, and pre-market high, 321.20. NVIDIA had the big breakout, made new all-time highs in a long period of consolidation. So you never know how far this can go. When stocks have been breaking out of long periods of consolidation, they tend to really run. Had a very nice move, and then finally had a rest day. So nice red candle, almost like a very quick flag pattern, and it had the gap up this morning. So the levels that looked good to trade around was that new all-time high, or what would have been the 611.65, and then pre-market high 606.38. And SCKT yesterday went on a monster squeeze run. I feel like the small caps really get going. Not all of them, but sometimes they can seriously have massive days. And the reason that this came up on my radar was because of this Thinkorswim percentage change gainer watch list. I always sort it by volume, and also Benzinga Charlie in the background alerted this when it really started to pick up. And I missed most of this, but it just goes to show, high day break, these things can seriously get going. Pulled back, new high a day, pulled back. I ended up taking it for a scalp up here. Nice flag pattern, and just took it for the quick move. All right, so the first trade is going to be on DOCU and had a very strong push. Went really fast, totally went without me. Pulled back, held the 9 above the VWAP, and now it's approaching high day 271, and I'm long 5 contracts at 630. Now the only downside with this trade is it was low volume, so just really trying to pay attention to volume a little bit more than I have been. But if it breaks high of day, I think that there could be a run, especially being that the daily also lines up with a breakout. So I just want to see that high day break, and then if it starts to speed up, I need to consider getting out of this trade, especially since the volume is a little bit lower. And got the break of 271, pretty quick move. Now I just want to see this get up to 272. What happens? A little bit of size at 272. Can it eventually get through it? But now I'm clearly in the money. The options are trading right around 685. I got filled at 630, so I don't want to let these go red. And it pushes up towards 272 again, starts to show a little bit of weakness, and I end up just getting out of the trade, so I'm not involved in any sort of pullback. And I was in it for a pretty quick trade and ended up making $191 on that. And the second trade is going to be on BIDU, so I had a bit of a push off the open, pulled back, got just below VWAP, got back above VWAP, and got towards high of day, so I ended up going long right there, 5 contracts, filled at $12.99, knowing that all-time high is above, so just trying to ride this for a quick momentum move. Gets through 321, and continuously keeps showing strength. So it gets right up to 322, pulls back a little bit, but still very strong. Just broke high a day and also has all-time high above, so trying to hold out for that break. So having some trouble at that 322.50 area, and it did have two very nice candles prior, and I'm noticing in the current market, when things run, they don't just continue to go as much as they used to. They are met with pullbacks. I don't like being involved in those pullbacks. When this pulled in, I ended up just getting out of that trade. I was in it for a pretty short amount of time and ended up making $148. And the third trade is going to be on Baidu again. So I had a bit of a pullback, instantly got bought right back up, makes a new high of day. So I wanted to go long. I took 300 shares because the options were a little spready, just felt better trading shares. And I went long 322.80. And now I just want to see if there's any sort of follow through. But the extended flag patterns in the current market right now, they don't have that much follow through. So just have to be careful and aware that those pullbacks can happen. And if it doesn't go in my favor pretty quickly, I have to do a good job at getting out of the trade pretty fast. And that's what I do right here. So I really wanted to see that go a little further, pulls back, and just to be safe, I end up getting out of this and took a very small loss, only $72. And the fourth trade is on NVDA. So NVDA, very strong stock. Daily looks really good. It's been in full-blown breakout mode. Pulled back off the open. Buyers stepped up. Nice consolidation towards high of day. I end up going long just before the high day break. I got filled at 606.16. And now I just want to see if this can really get going. And the tape started to speed up pretty quick right there. Got into 607. A little bit of size on the offer. Clear 607. Nice quick pop. Got a nice move, but it's starting to struggle a little bit at 607. So I end up taking 200 shares off just to be safe. And I wanted to leave 100 in case this really had a big move after. And it's just not following through the way that I want to see this move. When NVIDIA breaks levels, it really can get going and starts to pull back, and I end up just getting out of the last 100 shares right there. Wasn't a big trade, but ended up making $114 on it. And right now you can see the base hits are starting to add up. And the last trade, the fifth and final trade, is on SCKT. So this had a pretty aggressive push, pulled back. I'm sure there were a lot of people that thought that this could be the top. So they start to short, it holds up, gets back above the 9, back above the 20, makes a new high of day. That actually would have been a really good trade, but I'm noticing that on the cheaper names, those high day breaks sometimes can stuff, so I just did not want to take that trade. Had the push, pulled back, and this is where I ended up getting long. Nice flag pattern and held the 9 EMA, and this next candle, big buying candle, I ended up going long 30.99, and as it got towards high day, I wanted to give it a chance to see if this could really get going, and then when it stuffed, I got out of the trade. And I have the screenshot of the execution right here, so 300 shares at 30.99, and ended up getting out at 32.35 and made 406 on the trade. So I didn't have any sort of home run trades on the day. It was a bunch of base hits, kept the loss small, and made $785 on the day, which is great. And I ended up taking two trades today, February 17th. One of the trades I took was on CLPS. It seems like there's always some sort of small cap runner of the day. And when they set up clean, they can provide some good opportunities. And the other trade that I took was on Tesla. And the market was gapping down today. And recently, because of the market being so strong, those gap down days can be tricky. So I already know in the back of my mind that I don't want to press it, I don't want to overtrade, and I don't want to fight to the short side. Because every single time that I do, I can get chopped up. And that's where my biggest red days have come from. Unfortunately, I don't have this recorded, but I did take a screenshot of the executions. So I'll just go over the trades, entry and exits on the charts. Okay, so this CLPS, crazy mover of the day, the main level that I was looking at was the all-time high, $17.99. When stocks are making new all-time highs, they can really get moving. Who knows how far it can go, so I wanted to be a part of that trade. And CLPS off the open, kind of had the pop up to pre-market high, failed, got below VWAP. I'm sure there are people who were short below VWAP thinking that this had a chance to fill the downside gap. Reclaimed VWAP, took out high a day. Now there's a lot of shorts jammed. Has a really strong push, pulls back, and this is where I ended up going long. Starts to calm down. Nice flag pattern. 9 EMA, 20 SMA. Holds it. This candle right here. Big buying candle. I went long 300 shares at $17.50, anticipating the all-time high break. Pulled back a little bit, still holding the 9, broke all-time highs, had a very nice move. I ended up taking 200 shares off, trying to hold a winner to see how far this could go. And when it started to show some weakness up here, ended up getting out of the last 100. And here's the executions. So 300 at $17.50, took 200 off at $19.14. And then when it pulled back a little bit, got out at $18.68 and ended up netting $441 on that quick trade. So I got to be honest, I was pretty short biased Tesla today. I mean, we have been in a very strong market. The dip tends to get bought, but we are due for a little bit of a pullback, or at least it feels like one, and the SPY being weak, I thought maybe there was the chance it could be today. And just looking at the daily chart, Tesla was taking out this prior pivot low, this 780.10. I do know that this is a highly liked stock, so dips tend to get bought, but just for a trade, thought that this could pull in a bit. Tesla was trading pretty weak pre-market, so it was looking like everything was setting up. It cleared that pivot before market open, 780.10, showing some weakness. And then another level that looked really good to trade around was pre-market low, which was 776. And then here's what happened on the 1 minute chart. The very first 1 minute candle, this broke pre-market low, and it had a pretty aggressive move. Now that moved way too quick. I don't like taking Tesla in the first minute, but this just went straight down. And then when it bounced and had a chance to look like it was going to go lower, and it didn't, put in a higher low, and that's right when I thought that it could possibly start to work its way into the gap, and especially if it takes out high a day, who knows how high it can go. And I ended up going for the high a day break, so my entry wasn't the best, pulled back a little bit, got a pretty quick move, and it pulled in, and I ended up just getting out of the trade because I did not feel comfortable with it. I knew that already my entry wasn't the greatest, so when it started to kind of fluctuate right around break even, I just bailed on the trade. Sucks that happened. It did end up going further. It would have been a nice win had I held it, but I'm trying to be safe, and that was my way out, so I ended up just cutting it. I got long 5 contracts at 16.40 and then ended up getting out at 16.49 and made $40, so a flat trade. And this just goes to show what I've been doing. The big caps have not been the easiest to trade. There's a lot more chop compared to 2020, and if you overtrade it, you can really get beat up. So I've been doing my best to be as picky as possible and even expand into other markets when there's good setups there if needed. So the last couple trading days have been all right, and it's crazy to say it's come from the small caps, but I'll take what I can get. I'm hoping that the market environment can soon be a little less choppy, but it is what it is, so I'm doing my best to adapt. Welcome to trading, one of the toughest things to do for a living. So that's it. Those are the trades that I took over the last couple days. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.